Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Ask the Expert series on Facebook Live. And welcome to all those who are tuning in on LinkedIn. This is the first time I have done a LinkedIn Live, so I'm really excited to be experimenting with that. Today's topic, I'll be talking about branding, and I'll be talking specifically about personal branding. And as many of you know, I am an etiquette expert, and I have been branding myself as an etiquette expert since 1998. But last year, when COVID hit, I felt like we all started over again. We all had to learn how to reinvent ourselves. We had to do the P word, which is pivot. We had to figure out how we were going to move forward in our businesses. So last year, I decided that it was time for me to develop a brand new website and a brand new brand, because it had been 20 plus years since I had done that. So the woman you're going to meet today is the woman who helped launch my brand new website, etiquetteexpert.com. And she's an extraordinary young lady. I'll tell you a little bit about her, and I'll bring her on in just a minute. Her name is Sara Neves, and she is the founder of Unicorn Designer Studio. And it's interesting, I found her not necessarily with a Google search, because that's how most of us are found these days, but I found a friend who had a fabulous website, and I ended up contacting her web designer, and her web designer was not able to design my website, but she recommended Sara to me, and I'm glad she did, because there are no mistakes, I think, in life. There is no such thing as accidents. I believe that it's all serendipity. But let me tell you a little bit about Sara. She actually lives in Portugal, and she works from Portugal, but she works with clients from all over the world, including the United States. And she specifically helps female entrepreneurs with online businesses, and she helps them show up as the experts they already are. So in other words, what she does is she takes the brand that the person has already created, and she makes it even better. And we'll talk about how she does that, because a lot of web designers will just simply design a website, but she's also a developer as well. We'll talk about that. So all of the websites that she designs are 100% customized. They are not cookie cutter at all. And so she's passionate about making each client feel confident and proud every time they share their website. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Sara on in just a second. She'll show up in our screen, and any second, here she is. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for your words. They mean a lot to me. You were one of my first clients when I decided to go out on my own, and I couldn't have asked for better. It's just made me realize, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to work with people like Jacqueline.
Well, even though you were new to start your business, I believe you started in about January of 2020, right before COVID hit, but you're not new to designing and developing. You've worked for some pretty major companies, and you've also worked for independent companies as well. So will you just tell our viewers how you got involved with what you're doing today?
Yes. So when I was in high school, I didn't know anything about design or web design. I didn't even know those professions existed. But I really like to create on computers. I'm not like, I don't know how to draw very well on paper, but I know how to, but I feel I'm creative, and I can create great things on computer with the technology that we have. So when I realized I could do that for a living, it was just like an haha moment, right? So I went to design school, but I went to a school where they teach graphic design and also web development, which was great for me because I also liked maths, and I didn't want just the creative part. So yeah, that was perfect. And then I finished, I graduated, and I started working for a startup. Then I moved to a small business. Then I went for the biggest airline company in Portugal. Then I wanted to try an agency, and then I thought, oh, maybe I should try working solo and running my own business and see how that goes. And it's going very well.
Well, I know it's going very well because a couple of my friends here in the States have hired you, and you've done a really great job with their websites. And I think you're an inspiration to a lot of young women out there, because there are so many people, men and women, who would love to launch their own businesses. And you did it at a time where most people were afraid to take that leap. You did it right before COVID. Of course, none of us knew that it would hit, and you continued to persevere, and now you are starting to really gain momentum. But what I have to say to what about what you just said is, you didn't just graduate from college and then decide to launch your own business. You really took the time to work for other companies before you became confident enough to launch your own business. And would you agree that that was the right track to take? And what advice would you give other young women who are thinking about pursuing their own businesses?
Yes, I think it was really important, because I think we have to try different things to understand what we like and what we don't like and what we want for our life. And also, I learned a lot of things. It was like another degree while I was working for other companies. And I think it's important, even if it's just for us to know how it is to be like how it is to be an employer. If one day we have to hire people, we've got the experience, and we know how it is to be on the other side. But yeah, I wouldn't advise anyone to get out of school and start right away. Yeah.
No.
Experience even.
So you went from working with people a lot, and especially when you worked for one of the largest airlines in Portugal, you worked for working with people. Now you're working alone. You're in your home, working by yourself. Do you find that that's a challenge, or is it something that you have learned to enjoy? Or what is one of the greatest challenges when it comes to working from home?
I love it. People find it funny. Some people find it strange, right? Oh, but you're always at home. But I think it also depends on the home. I have a good family atmosphere, and I have a home. You saw the picture that I posted today is from my bedroom. The view that I have from my bedroom, so I can go outside, and yeah, I just. I like it, and I never feel alone because I'm always getting on Zoom calls with people from all around the world, and yeah, I like it. I think it depends on the people, but I like it.
So it doesn't even really matter where your clients are located. Back in the old days, we used to hire people, contractors, based on their proximity to us. And here I took a leap of faith and I hired you, and you live in Portugal. And I have to be honest, I have never hired someone outside of the US, but I was pleasantly surprised that when we started working together, you were really able to capture the essence of my brand, and you were able to understand what my needs were. And I just feel that when you hire someone, regardless of where they live, they have to understand what your goals and motivations are. And that's one of the things that I am happy to say was as a result of our relationship. And so I want to talk about branding and the importance of branding. But before I do that, I want you to take the listeners, the audience, through your thought process. When you have somebody call you out of the blue, and let's say they're recommended to you by somebody like me or one of your clients, what is your thought process when it comes to the creative side? What are you looking for in that person to help them create their best brand?
Yeah, I like to think that I organize and structure the ideas that are flowing in your mind. So you say, oh, I want this, but I also want this, and I don't know how we can put this together. And I think that's my job, is grabbing what you say to me and structuring it to present it in a clear and concise way. And I'm always, so special for personal brands, I have to get to know you, right? If we're going to create your brand, I have to get to know you, your personality, and your target audience, and the people you want to attract, right? Because it's different if you want to attract, I don't know, women or men even, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I look for the things that I look the most is for keywords. I'm always asking for keywords because I don't know, that makes my job easier. And I remember you said that you felt that your brand didn't have to have didn't need to be so much of a corporate brand, and you could have your personality, and that's what you wanted, but you wanted something sophisticated, elegant, a bit conservative, but at the same time you wanted to include your personality, that you have a feminine and romantic side to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the challenge, and those are the things that I look for, so that then I can create the visuals that reflect that message that you want to send, and those feelings that you want people to feel when they look at your brand.
So it's interesting. You said that you listen to your clients and you listen for those keywords they're saying. And in my case, it was, I wanted to shift from more of a, or less corporate, although corporate is still a part of my brand, but I wanted to shift it more into a more personal side. And that's something that I haven't really showed in my previous websites is the personal side. And so that's a huge task for you to take on, is to capture that person's personality. So with, besides photographs, which we all know a picture says 1,000 words, but without, let's put photographs aside. I mean, they're important, right? But what else is important besides the photographs to tell that person's story? And I think that's what I know you are. You're a storyteller, but you do it in a way that is more, I don't want to say technical, but you're a storyteller. So you help capture that person's essence, personality. So besides the pictures, what else do you use to do that?
So yeah, brand identity is way more than just a logo, right? I believe people can see a post from you, something that you post on Instagram, and it doesn't have to have your logo for them to be scrolling and knowing that, oh, this is a post from Jacqueline, because it has a feeling. The colors, the typography, the fonts that we chose, all together create a feeling. So that's important. And colors and fonts aren't chosen like, oh, I like this font, or oh, Jacqueline likes this color, it's her favorite color, let's put it. No, it has a thought behind it, because there's the psychology of color, that colors bring emotions. So they have to be well chosen. And also the fonts, we chose an elegant font for you, and sophisticated font, because that was what made sense to your brand.
And so what you and I did first, and I want to just take the listeners through our process. We started, step number one was branding. In other words, you worked with me to help me pick out my best colors for the website. And it wasn't necessarily my favorite colors, although it was color, I liked the colors, but my favorite color is pink. So we didn't necessarily have a pink website, but we incorporated, I guess, a shade of orangey, although I guess it could be a dark pink, but it wasn't exactly like a feminine pink.
Yeah. Flash.
Right. And then we also chose a navy blue to capture the corporate side, but yet we were able to marry the two colors. And then we added a little bit of gold, and then we've got some grays in there, and then we've got almost like a turquoise, not so much though, of the turquoise, but we worked with about 5 different colors, but there are 2 predominant colors. So I think when I started working with you, what I was understanding is that we keep it simple, we keep it clean, we concentrate on a couple of colors and just a really nice font, and start with that. And then once we established that, then you were able to build a website based on my personality and the colors and the fonts and the pictures that I sent you. And let's talk about pictures for a second. How important are pictures?
Yeah, it's very important. I believe like the base of the website, because we took care of the photos more for the end of the project, but the website alone with the pictures that it already had, it was good. But when those videos came in and those photos came in, it took us to another level, right? And it's all thought out, because sometimes people are a bit surprised by how long the process can take. But then, like, everything is thought. The clothes that you wear were thought out, like the colors of the clothes that you wear. It all has to come together, and we look at that section of the website and we say, oh, what would look great here is you setting a table, is you working with other people. Because again, the storytelling, I make an effort for the photo that it's alongside that text. It's illustrating that text, right? So there's a page where you talk about the house that you lived in for a while, on the cottage.
Yeah, the boathouse.
The boathouse. Yes. And I thought that story was so. You wrote it so well. It was important, and it meant so much to you that it had to be there, a representation of what you were talking about. So pictures alongside text, illustrating the text, I think also helps tell the story.
Right. It tells the story, and it also brings the website to life. And as you mentioned, that was the photos were the last thing to be put in place. And what I liked about the details, that you work with details and you help a person who's non-technical like me understand what I need to do in order to achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve. So, for example, you sent me a shot sheet, which when I went to have my photographs taken, you said, okay, I want you sitting on a couch drinking a cup of tea. I would like for you to be at your computer typing or pretending to type. I want you to be journaling. So you would give, and I'm assuming you do this for all your clients so that they understand what you're trying to achieve is to tell a story, and to take the viewer, whenever they go to the website, to take that visitor or viewer on a journey. And so most people don't leave the first page of a website. I think, and that's what I love about your design. You put just about everything a person wants to see on page 1. So they don't have to scroll to page 2 and 3, and they don't have to go searching for things. And I've noticed a lot of web designers don't do that, but you did that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things that that we should focus on when we are designing the website is the user experience, because people don't have time, right? So we have to guide them as much as we can for them to reach the information that they want as quickly as we can show them. So it's really important that the homepage is a summary of the rest of the website. And then if people want to go in deep on each subject, they can click and go to that page. So if they want to know more about you, they go to the About page, and then they have all the things they need to know about you. They can see that you sell books, they can see that the services that you offer, and they can see they can take the main action that you want them to take, whether that's signing up for your newsletter, whether that's contacting you or buying your product. We have to know what that is to guide the users to do that.
Right. So you're basically doing the work for the visitor. You're making it easy for the visitor to find what he or she is looking for on that first page. And that's something that I've noticed that is special about your work. And I also believe that and of course I'm partial because you're my web designer and developer, but what I also, when I tell people about you, I always say, when you look at one of Sara's websites, it's not stagnant. In other words, it moves, it comes to life. You feel like you're how should I say, what am I trying to say, Sara? It's not stationary. I mean, the website actually moves. And it catches a person's attention, and it holds the person's attention for a while and takes the person to the next phase and the next phase.
Yeah, I think what I want is for people to come to your website and first of all get that wow factor, like whoa, this is America's foremost etiquette expert for sure. and then I don't want them to. I think the worst thing that we can feel on a website is frustration, because like I want to know what she does, and I'm at the homepage and I haven't understood I didn't understood what this woman does. So I'm just going to go back to Google and search for another service provider because I can understand what this woman does, and I don't have the time to be like reading all the pages. Or another mistake that a lot of people do on websites is having long blocks of text that you look at them and you're just like, no, I don't have the time to read this. So it's important to give also space for people to breathe. I feel that when people enter your website, they can breathe. They can go through all the content and they have space to breathe, because there's a lot of white space also that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Like they have all the things glued together, and there's like you have to present things at a pace and at ease, and I think that's what people want when they say they want a clean website, right?
Yes. What I hear you saying is there's enough white space. I call it white space, where everything is spaced out. You're not bombarded with a bunch of words. You don't have to read a lot. And when you were giving me my instructions on how to what to put where, you would even tell me how many words worked best in certain sections. And so I tried to stay within those parameters without being too verbose, too wordy. But I think that that is helpful to someone who has no clue about how to design websites. So you make it very easy for people. And so let's talk about the investment part of a website. Whenever I coach and consult etiquette experts, they always ask me about price. Okay, so I'm sure when your clients call you, that's the first thing. They look at your work, which speaks for itself, but they're always going to ask, well, what do you charge? So without necessarily giving away your fees, why do you think it's important for a person to invest in a good website? And what can they expect to spend in terms of an investment?
I mean, it all depends. So there are prices for everyone, and it all depends on the stage that you're at. I don't expect that a person that is just starting out that will invest a lot of money in a new brand and website, because sometimes they are not yet sure of what they want or of what they want to represent. So it's different for someone that is just starting out than from someone who has like plus than 10 years of experience and know what he wants and what he stands for. So I think when you are when you have some years of experience and you want to be considered as an expert, then you should invest because you should be presented as one. I believe that's what I, like when people come to your website, even if they don't know you, they know that you're serious about what you do without even knowing you. And when they reach out to you, they already know that you are trustable, that you are
trustworthy, believable.
trustworthy. Yeah. Yeah, it all depends. There are prices for everyone, but I think if you are at a higher level on your career, you should be willing to spend some thousands of dollars. Like I don't, there are prices for everyone, but like a good brand identity will sure be more than maybe 3K, and websites take a lot of time. I think people with this conversation can understand, but they don't understand half of the work that we had to do. So for websites, I think around like more than 10K, but it depends on the website, because we were talking like I launched a website that it's really simple because it doesn't have a blog or a store like your website. It has a blog, a store. Some people want online courses, and that all changes the investment that they have to make. But I think I'm sure that if they make that investment, they won't regret it because the results will be extraordinary. Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is a couple things. Number one, for those people who are just starting out in their businesses, it's important to have a website, yes, but you don't have to spend a ton of money, and you probably shouldn't at the beginning stages of your career, because you're just figuring out what your brand is and where you want to go. But someone who's been in business a decade or more, in my case, it was 20 plus years. I already knew what I wanted and who my audience is. So for someone like me, it's worth the time and the investment to spend. And what I'm also hearing you say is, based on how complicated, if you will, or complicated is not the word, but the more you put on pardon me?
It's a process.
It's a process. Right. So that takes more time for you because you're developing more pages, for example, a blog and a shop and online courses and a bio page. I mean, the more pages you add, the more time it takes and the more development it takes. So therefore, your time has to be factored into that. So a lot of people don't understand that. They just think, well, I want a website and I want to spend a certain amount, but they don't realize the time that it takes. And I'll have to be honest, my website, and I'm partly my fault because of what we were going through last year. There was just so much chaos in our lives last year. But it took about 6 months for me to launch my website. But that's not normal. Normally,
No,
it can take what?
and it was I think it was because it involved a lot of things, like you wanted to present a lot of services and the virtual services and that's the thing. And sometimes people want the website like for next month, but they are not clear yet of what they want in their website, right?
Yes.
And so sometimes it's a process of understanding what we want to show and yeah, that's it. No, and I also wanted to say what's included. It also represents like what I do is 100% custom websites design. So some people use templates, and that might shorten down the time a bit. But if you want a custom solution, it's normal that it will take more time.
Right. Hence your company name, Unicorn Designer Studio.
Yes.
Because tell us how you came up with that name.
Yeah. So I wanted something magical. I wanted something fun and that brought out the creative feelings in people, right? But it is because I think what's different about me, and you talked about this in the beginning, is that I can do the whole thing, like from graphic design to web design to development. So there's no gap between what I design and what I develop, because sometimes I know this happens, like I can design something and I will give to another person to develop, and they don't have the attention to detail that I will have, right? For example, in the white space, if I put that space between those paragraphs, I want it to be that space because the website needs space to breathe. So yeah, and a unicorn designer by definition is a designer that has many skills, especially the graphic design part and the development part. Yeah.
Right. So in other words, you do it all versus if someone were to hire a web designer, they would have to then work with a web developer as well.
Yes.
And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just making a website pretty. It has to be operational. It has to work. You have to be able to find people on the search engines, and that's something that you're very good at.
Thank you. No, but it's real, and this is something that people should be aware of when they are hiring a web designer and or a web developer, is that there's no gap between what's designed and what is developed, because you could see your website before it was even developed, right? Before I first we designed the website and then we developed. But when we finished designing the layout of every page, you could see how every page would look like.
So it's not enough just to have a beautiful website. You can have a gorgeous website, but if it doesn't work for you, and if no one can find you, then it is a complete waste of your investment and your time. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that it's more than just having a pretty website, isn't it?
Yes, because if people can find what they're looking for, it's like and what's the point in people coming to your website if then they don't convert, right? If they don't send you a message, if they don't sign up to your newsletter, if they don't do the thing that you want them to do.
Yes,
Call
exactly.
to actions are really important also, and that's another mistake I see people doing. Like they do a beautiful website, but then they don't put the buttons for people to click, right?
Right. There's no call to action. So we just have a couple of minutes remaining. And so I want to just end by asking you this last question. And it's, in your personal opinion, what qualities must one have if he or she is thinking about starting their own business? In other words, you've been working on your own since January of 2020. What lessons have you learned? What 2 or 3 lessons have you learned about working for yourself that you could pass on to somebody else who is thinking about launching their own business or doing what they love? And maybe they're afraid. Maybe there's this fear factor that they'll fail, or they won't make money the first year. Or what kind of advice would you give someone?
So there are a couple, but I think one thing that I think I did right was when I made the decision, I said to myself, okay, Sara, you have 2 years. So I gave time for myself to succeed. If after 2 years I don't get it, I can come back always to where I was at. And that it takes time. So we have to have patience, right? Because what I felt was that last year I was planting seeds, and I had the pleasure to work with some amazing women like yourself.
Thank you.
And I feel like maybe only this year I started, because then it's a snowball effect, right? Now people see your website, they can see the work that I can do for them, and you liked working with me, so you will refer me to other people, and yeah, I think it's believing in yourself, and it's normal that for the first months you will be doing things and not seeing the results, but I really like that metaphor that it's like planting a seed and you have to wait for it to grow. It won't grow like you won't have a tree in the next day, right?
Right. It's about growing your business and being patient. Patience is a virtue. And word of mouth is the highest form of flattery. And if you can have your clients or ask your clients to tell 2 more people and so on and so forth. Plus, you're really good at social media.
I've been a little bit absent because I've been launching websites, but yeah, I like it. I should do it more.
Well, you're busy, which is a good thing. So,
Yeah.
um, so again, Sara's website is unicorndesignerstudio.com. And I'll put that in the notes as well. And if anyone is interested in getting in touch with you, they can just they can find you on Instagram. They can find you where else? How can people get in touch with you?
The best option is, if they are interested in working with me, is going to my website and booking their discovery call. But they also can message me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm there.
Absolutely. And that's really important. That discovery call is really important for you to understand who that person really is.
Yes, and if we are a good fit for working together, yes, and it's always good. I'm always meeting people all around the world, and I like it. It's never a waste of time.
Well, that's the great thing with the power of Zoom. We can work with anybody, anywhere around the world. So thank you, Sara. I
Thank
appreciate you
you so
sharing
much.
all your wisdom and your insight. And I invite everybody to check out my website, which is etiquetteexpert.com, and see what Sara has done. And I'll also post some links to some of her other websites that she has completed. And thanks again, Sara. So, yes, so we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, it's always great to talk with you. I'm always happy to do it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.